So, as I was standing there in Susiya, this is a demonstration, probably somewhere near 1,000 people. I know some of you in this room were here. I imagine if you've heard or heard about it. And as I'm standing there, there's this familiar smell of this sort of strange mixture of tear gas and dust and sweat, which you sort of get used to after going to enough demonstrations. And people are chanting slogans, and some people are really, really there chanting, and other people are sort of walking around in circles, chatting, and it's like a demonstration. And on the other side, there's a line of soldiers, and they're standing in a line. And most of them are wearing sunglasses. And I look at them, and I feel such anger towards them. And I think about, the people around me and their houses standing to be demolished for nothing, for an archaeological site. And I'm so angry at these people who are standing there and standing still with their sunglasses, blocking us or shooting tear gas every now and then, or pushing demonstrators or arresting demonstrators. And I'm standing there in line and I'm feeling this anger. And then I look at one of these soldiers, and he's young. He's probably 18 or 19 or maybe 20. He's not wearing sunglasses. And I don't think I actually thought of this in the moment, but when thinking back on this and when understanding this point in my history, I actually thought of something that Zach and Jacob and I studied in college in a Jewish study group. This concept by Levinas, actually, about eyes. And so it stood out to me so profoundly. Levinas writes something along the lines of, when you see someone's eyes, you understand your capacity to murder them. You understand your capacity to murder them. This is the only part of the human body that is exposed, the only part of the internal body that is exposed to the world, where everything else is covered in skin or nails or hair. And so you understand your capacity to murder them, and through this capacity, you also understand their infinity, I think is what he writes. And from this point, you can start to love them, and from this point, you don't want to murder them. And these are intense concepts. I don't know that I was at the sort of the level of anger that made me to want to murder them, but I wanted to hurt them. I wanted to maybe throw rocks or to do something. And this was not something I was going to do because I've been trained in my context. But I can only imagine that someone who faced situations like this every day, rather than once every few months, would feel something closer on the spectrum to wanting to murder them. So I felt this, and I saw this soldier, and I saw this kid, and I saw his eyes, and I think at this moment I really, really felt, I understood that I didn't want to kill him. I didn't want to hurt him. I didn't want him to be hurt any more than I wanted the people around me to be hurt. And I wanted to do something that would stop the hurt for all the people around here. And sitting with this at the same time, 2 days beforehand, I had gotten my draft orders to enlist in the army. So I've been thinking this is a process I've been going through for 5 years, maybe 10 years. When I was 13 years old and had posters of Yonatan Netanyahu in my bedroom, or when I was 17 years old and thought I would be the good soldier among the other soldiers who would make sure no one would hurt anyone. And then back here now, 22 years old, with the draft notice sitting on my desk and facing this soldier and standing in the middle of Susiya. And so I think it was at that moment, I don't know if it actually was, but this is how the narrative I've chosen to tell. At some moment around then that I decided that I was going to refuse to serve, and to do it in a way that was as close to the values that were driving me as possible. So this could turn into an entire sort of speech and presentation, but instead I'm going to go back to poetry, which is the reason we're all here, all gathered here.